There's a car on the side of a dark road. Engine running. Headlights cutting through the fog. The driver's door is open. Keys are still in the ignition. A wallet sits on the passenger seat. And on the dashboard, a phone is still recording. But there's no driver. When police arrive, they find the phone warm to the touch. It's been recording for 43 minutes. The footage shows a man behind the wheel. Alone. Hands gripping the steering wheel. Eyes checking the rearview mirror every few seconds. Breathing hard. And he's talking. I need to record this. I need people to understand what's happening. If this phone is found and I'm not there to explain it, then someone needs to know the truth. I have evidence. I have documentation. I have proof. And that's exactly why they're following me right now. His name is Tyler Washington. 28 years old. Software engineer from Seattle. And in less than an hour from the moment he starts recording, he will vanish without a trace. The footage shows Tyler glancing at his rearview mirror again and again. His jaw is tight. His breathing is shallow. Black SUV. No license plates. Been tracking me since I left the office. Same vehicle I saw parked outside my apartment this morning. I tried to lose them. Didn't work. They stayed just far enough back to seem random. But I know better. I know they're monitoring every move I make. Tyler takes a sharp exit off the main highway. The road darkens. Fewer streetlights. Fewer cars. I'm heading east. Getting out of the city. There's someone I'm supposed to meet. Someone who can help me make sense of what I've found. But if something happens before I get there, if I don't make it, you need to understand what's at stake. There are files. Encrypted files. My sister Maya has access to one set. My attorney has another. And the third is with someone nobody knows about. If I disappear, those files contain everything. Why Daniel Ortega is gone. And why I'm probably next. Tyler makes another turn. The headlights behind him don't follow. He exhales. Okay. I think I lost them. I'm going to keep moving. Get to the meeting point. Everything's going to be. The footage cuts. 43 minutes of recording ends there. Here's what makes this different. When police examine Tyler's phone, they discover it was remotely wiped. Someone accessed it after the recording stopped. They erased everything. Call history. Text messages. Contacts. Everything. But they left the dashcam footage. They wanted it found. They wanted investigators to see Tyler's fear. His claims about being followed. But they didn't want anyone to see what happened in those final 12 seconds. Tyler Washington vanished on October 23, 2022. His car was found abandoned. His phone was wiped clean. And the person he was supposed to meet that night has never been identified. But what Tyler didn't know was that 6 weeks before he disappeared, his colleague Daniel Ortega went missing under almost identical circumstances. And what investigators discovered when they connected these two cases would reveal something far more calculated than anyone was prepared to accept. This is the Tyler Washington case. And by the end of this investigation, you'll understand why his sister Maya has spent the last 2 years fighting to prove that her brother didn't just disappear. He was silenced. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. If you think stories like Tyler's deserve to be heard, if you believe families like Maya's deserve answers, then subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that like button. And share this video with at least one person. Because here's the reality, cases like this get buried. They fade from the news. They become cold files that nobody talks about. But when people subscribe, when they engage, when they share, these stories stay alive. The pressure on investigators stays constant. And the chance of finding real answers increases. Tyler Washington's case is still open. His family is still searching for the truth. The least we can do is make sure his story doesn't disappear the way he did. Subscribe, like, share. Right now. It takes 5 seconds and it matters more than you realize. Now let's talk about who Tyler Washington really was, and why what he discovered would put his life in immediate danger. So who was Tyler Washington? And why would a 28-year-old software engineer from Seattle end up recording a terrified message on a dark road before vanishing completely? Let me tell you about the man before everything went wrong. Tyler grew up in Tacoma, about 35 miles south of Seattle. His childhood was pretty normal. His dad worked in logistics for a shipping company. His mom was an elementary school teacher. Tyler was the older of 2 kids. He had a younger sister named Maya. They were close. Really close. The kind of siblings who actually talked to each other regularly, not just on holidays. From a young age, Tyler was good with computers. Like really good. He taught himself how to code when he was 13. Built his first website at 15. By the time he graduated high school, he'd already won programming competitions against kids from all over the region. He went to the University of Washington on a partial scholarship. Studied computer science with a focus on cybersecurity. Graduated in 2016 with honors. His professors said he had a natural talent for seeing vulnerabilities in code that other people missed. He could spot problems before they became disasters. His first job out of college was at a small tech startup in Bellevue. He stayed there for about 2 years, learning the ropes. Then in 2019, he got hired at Cascade Dynamics. Now, Cascade Dynamics wasn't some massive tech giant you've heard of. It was a mid-sized firm that specialized in data encryption for major corporations. Think banks, insurance companies, healthcare systems. Any business that needed to protect sensitive information from hackers. Tyler started as a junior developer. But he was smart. He worked hard. He solved problems other people couldn't figure out. Within 3 years, he'd been promoted twice. By 2022, he was a senior engineer working on some of the company's most important projects. His coworkers all said the same thing about him. Brilliant. Quiet. Kind of kept to himself but was always willing to help if someone was stuck on something. He'd grab coffee with the team, talk about the Seahawks, share funny videos. But when it came to his personal life, Tyler didn't share much. Nobody at work knew where he lived. Nobody knew what he did on weekends. Nobody knew if he was dating anyone. He was friendly, but he kept boundaries. His sister Maya said that was just how Tyler had always been. Growing up, their father had worked in military intelligence. Privacy wasn't just something their family valued. It was drilled into them from childhood. Don't share personal information unnecessarily. Be careful about what you post online. Think before you speak. Tyler took that to heart. But here's the thing. There's a difference between being private and being paranoid. And in the months before Tyler disappeared, something changed. He went from being cautious to being scared. His neighbor, a guy named David Chen, told police that sometime in September, Tyler knocked on his door and asked if he'd noticed anyone unusual hanging around the building. David said no, everything seemed normal. Tyler just nodded and said, "Okay. Just keep your eyes open for me." David thought it was a weird thing to say, but he didn't push it. 2 weeks later, Tyler changed the locks on his apartment door. Then a week after that, he changed them again. Different locks. Higher security. His coworker Marcus, who was probably Tyler's closest friend at work, noticed changes too. Tyler stopped going out for lunch. He used to walk to a sandwich place down the street almost every day. But suddenly, he started bringing lunch from home and eating at his desk. Marcus asked him why. Tyler said he was just trying to save money. But Marcus knew Tyler well enough to know something was off. Then one day in late September, Tyler pulled Marcus aside after a meeting. He looked tired. Stressed. He said, "Marcus, if something happens to me, I need you to remember something. Follow the money. Always follow the money." Marcus laughed it off. Thought Tyler was making some kind of joke. But Tyler didn't laugh. He just looked at him and said, "I'm serious. Remember that." Marcus didn't understand what Tyler meant. Not until after Tyler disappeared and the police started asking questions. Because when investigators searched Tyler's apartment, they found something hidden in the air vent above his bedroom closet. A small notebook. Handwritten ledger pages. Entries documenting financial transactions. Dates. Amounts. Account numbers. The transactions totaled $4.7 million. None of the account numbers matched anything in Tyler's name. None of the transactions appeared in his bank records. This was money moving through systems Tyler had access to at work. Money that wasn't supposed to be moving that way. Tyler had been tracking something. Something big. Something dangerous. And whatever he found, it started months before he disappeared. August 14, 2022. 2 months before Tyler disappeared. Tyler told his supervisor at work that he needed to take a long lunch. Said he had a personal appointment. Nothing unusual about that. People take long lunches all the time. What Tyler didn't tell anyone was where he was going or who he was meeting. Security cameras at Pike Place Market captured Tyler entering a small cafe around 12:30 in the afternoon. He sat down at a table near the back. And a few minutes later, a woman walked in and sat across from him. Police later showed the footage to Maya. She'd never seen this woman before. Tyler had never mentioned meeting anyone. The woman looked to be in her mid-30s. She wore dark sunglasses even though she was inside. Designer clothes. Expensive purse. No visible identification. They talked for 47 minutes. People who were in the cafe that day said the conversation looked serious. Intense. At one point, the woman reached into her bag and pulled out a manila envelope. She slid it across the table to Tyler. Tyler opened it. Looked inside. And his expression changed immediately. Witnesses said the color drained from his face. He looked shocked. Maybe scared. He closed the envelope, stood up quickly, dropped some cash on the table, and walked out without saying goodbye. The woman stayed behind. She sat there for another 10 minutes. Made a phone call. Then she calmly got up and left. When police tried to identify her, they hit a wall. No credit card transactions from that cafe at that time. No name connected to any nearby surveillance footage. She appeared, met with Tyler, and vanished. But here's the part that really bothered investigators. The cafe manager remembered something strange. After Tyler left, the woman walked up to the counter and asked if she could have Tyler's coffee cup. The one he'd been drinking from. The manager thought it was an odd request but didn't see any harm in it. He gave her the cup. She took it with her when she left. Why would someone want Tyler's coffee cup? Investigators believe she was collecting DNA. Getting a sample without Tyler knowing. But why? Who was she? And what was in that envelope? Tyler never told anyone about that meeting. He didn't mention it to Maya. Didn't mention it to Marcus. It only came to light after he disappeared, when police started pulling surveillance footage from everywhere Tyler had been in the weeks leading up to October 23rd. Whatever was in that envelope, it changed something for Tyler. Because after that meeting, his behavior shifted. He stopped going to his regular gym. Started paying for things with cash instead of credit cards. He bought a second phone. A prepaid burner that he kept in his car, separate from his regular phone. Why would Tyler need a burner phone? His neighbor David said Tyler started parking his car in different spots every night. Not in his assigned space in the building's garage. Random places on the street. Sometimes blocks away. When David asked him about it, Tyler said he was just trying to get more steps in. Walking farther to his car. But David didn't buy that. Tyler looked anxious. Like someone who was constantly watching over his shoulder. In September, Tyler changed his locks. High-security deadbolts. The kind that are hard to pick. Then a week later, he changed them again. Different brand. Even more secure. Maya called him around that time to check in. She asked if everything was okay. Tyler said he was fine. Just busy with work. Stressed about a big project. But Maya could hear something in his voice. He sounded distracted. Worried. She asked if he wanted to meet for dinner. Talk about whatever was going on. Tyler said he couldn't. Said he'd explain everything soon. But not yet. That was mid-September. By early October, Tyler's coworker Marcus noticed he wasn't acting like himself. Tyler used to eat lunch with the team. He'd go out to the food trucks, grab something, sit in the break room, and joke around. But suddenly, Tyler started eating at his desk. Door closed. Didn't want to be disturbed. Marcus knocked on his door one day and asked if everything was alright. Tyler said he was fine. Just trying to stay focused. Then Tyler said something that stuck with Marcus. If something happens to me, remember this. Follow the money. Always follow the money. Marcus thought Tyler was being dramatic. Maybe making some kind of inside joke. But Tyler didn't smile. He just looked at Marcus and repeated it. Follow the money. Marcus didn't know what that meant. Not until the police came asking questions after Tyler disappeared. Because when they searched Tyler's apartment, they found that ledger hidden in the air vent. Pages and pages of financial transactions. Money moving through offshore accounts. Shell companies. Dummy corporations. None of it connected to Tyler personally. But all of it connected to his work. Tyler had been tracking money. Lots of it. Money that wasn't supposed to exist. Money that someone was trying very hard to hide. And Tyler had found it. But before we get into what Tyler discovered, you need to understand something else. Something that happened 5 days after that mysterious meeting at the cafe. Because Tyler wasn't the only person from Cascade Dynamics who went missing. August 19, 2022. 5 days after Tyler met that unidentified woman. A man named Daniel Ortega left his apartment early in the morning. Told his roommate he was going hiking in the Cascade Mountains. Said he'd be back by evening. Daniel was 32 years old. Senior software engineer at Cascade Dynamics. He'd worked there for 4 years. And he worked closely with Tyler Washington. They were on the same team. Same projects. Same security clearances. Daniel never came home that night. His roommate called him around 8 p.m. No answer. Tried again at 10 p.m. Still nothing. By midnight, he was worried. He filed a missing persons report the next morning. Police found Daniel's car parked at a trailhead. His backpack was inside. Water bottle. Snacks. Everything you'd bring on a hike. But Daniel's phone was off. His wallet was missing. And there was no sign of him on the trail. Search and rescue teams spent over a week combing that area. They brought dogs. Helicopters. Volunteers. They searched miles of wilderness. They found nothing. No trace of Daniel Ortega. The official conclusion was that Daniel had gotten lost. Maybe fell. Maybe encountered a wild animal. The wilderness can be dangerous. People disappear on hikes sometimes. Daniel's family was devastated. His coworkers at Cascade Dynamics were shocked. The company sent out an email offering condolences and support to anyone who needed it. But here's what the public didn't know. When police searched Daniel's apartment, they seized his laptop. Standard procedure in a missing persons case. They wanted to see if there was anything in his emails or browsing history that might explain where he went or why. What they found was disturbing. Daniel's laptop had been wiped. Completely. Professionally. Every file deleted. Every email gone. Every document erased. This wasn't someone just emptying their trash folder. This was military-grade data destruction. The kind of thing you do when you absolutely don't want anyone recovering your information. Forensic specialists managed to pull fragments from the hard drive. Bits and pieces that hadn't been fully overwritten. In Daniel's deleted browser history, they found a search query from the night before he disappeared. How to disappear without a trace. Why would someone planning a simple day hike search for that? But here's where it connects to Tyler. Tyler and Daniel worked together on a project at Cascade Dynamics. Something called Project Sentinel. It was a high-level encryption program designed to protect corporate data from cyber attacks. According to people who knew them, Tyler and Daniel were close. Not exactly friends outside of work, but they respected each other. Collaborated well. Trusted each other. And according to the notes Tyler left behind, Daniel had discovered something in the code for Project Sentinel. Something that wasn't supposed to be there. A backdoor. Someone had deliberately built a way to bypass the encryption. A hidden access point that would let someone with the right key see everything the software was supposed to protect. Daniel brought this to Tyler's attention in early August. They reviewed the code together, ran tests, confirmed what they were seeing. The encryption software they were building, the thing that was supposed to be unhackable, had a built-in vulnerability. And it was intentional. Tyler's notes say that Daniel wanted to go to management immediately. Wanted to report it. Get it fixed. But Tyler told him to wait. Said they needed to document everything first. Gather evidence. Make sure they understood the full scope before making accusations. Daniel agreed. For a while. But then on September 6th, Daniel told Tyler he couldn't wait anymore. He said people needed to know what was happening. That staying quiet made them part of the problem. Tyler tried to talk him out of it. Told him to be careful. Said they needed more time. Daniel said time was something they didn't have. That was the last real conversation they had. 3 days later, Daniel was gone. And when Tyler attended Daniel's memorial service on September 8th, security cameras captured something interesting. Tyler looked nervous. He kept scanning the room. Looking at faces. Watching who was there. After everyone else left, Tyler stayed behind. He walked up to the memorial photo they'd set up. A picture of Daniel smiling. And Tyler placed something underneath it. Nobody noticed at the time. But weeks later, after Tyler disappeared, police reviewed the footage from that memorial service. They went back to the location and found what Tyler had left. A USB drive. It took investigators weeks to crack the encryption. But when they finally accessed the files, they found audio recordings. Tyler's voice. He'd been documenting everything. His suspicions about Project Sentinel. The backdoor he and Daniel had discovered. His theory about what happened to Daniel. And in the final recording, dated October 20th, just 3 days before Tyler disappeared, Tyler said something that sent chills down investigators' spines. If you're hearing this, I'm either dead or missing. I confronted them today. I showed them what I found. They denied everything. But I saw it in their eyes. They know that I know. Daniel tried to go public. They silenced him. I won't make the same mistake. I've hidden copies of everything. Multiple locations. People I trust. If anything happens to me, the truth will come out. But I need to be smart. I need to. The recording cuts off there. That was the last thing Tyler recorded. October 20th, 2022. 3 days before Tyler disappeared. According to Tyler's audio recording, he confronted someone at Cascade Dynamics that day. Showed them the evidence he'd gathered. The backdoor in the code. The financial irregularities. He doesn't say in the recording who specifically he confronted. But based on the timeline and what investigators later pieced together, Tyler most likely went to his project manager. A man named Richard Locke. Richard had been with Cascade Dynamics since the beginning. He'd worked his way up from developer to senior management. He oversaw Project Sentinel and reported directly to the executives. When police questioned Richard after Tyler's disappearance, he said Tyler had seemed stressed lately. Mentioned that Tyler had been asking a lot of questions about the project architecture. Seemed worried about something. But Richard claimed Tyler never mentioned anything about a backdoor or financial fraud. Said if Tyler had concerns, he should have brought them through proper channels. The problem with that explanation is Tyler's notes. Tyler documented that meeting with Richard. Wrote down what was said. What was denied. How Richard reacted. According to Tyler, Richard told him he was mistaken. That what Tyler thought was a backdoor was actually a diagnostic tool. Something required by the client for troubleshooting purposes. But Tyler didn't believe him. He'd reviewed the contract specifications. There was no mention of any diagnostic access. No requirement for a backdoor of any kind. Tyler left that meeting knowing 2 things. 1, the people at Cascade Dynamics who knew about the backdoor weren't going to admit it. And 2, he was now on their radar as a problem that needed to be dealt with. The next day, October 21st, Tyler received an email to his personal account. The message was short. Just 3 words. Drop it. Final warning. The email came from an anonymous account. No name. No identifying information. Sent through an encrypted service that masked the sender's location. Tyler forwarded that email to his sister Maya with a message of his own. If I don't respond to you within 24 hours, go to the police with everything. He also sent her a set of coordinates. A storage locker across town. Told her there was a key hidden in his apartment. Inside the locker, she'd find files. Documentation. Evidence. Maya didn't understand what Tyler was talking about. She called him. Asked what was going on. Tyler said he couldn't explain over the phone. Told her not to worry. Said he was being careful. But he also said, I love you. And I'm sorry if things get complicated. Just trust me. That scared Maya more than anything. Tyler wasn't someone who talked like that. Wasn't someone who prepared for worst-case scenarios unless he truly believed something bad might happen. The next day, October 22nd, Tyler received another email. This time there was a photo attached. The photo showed Tyler leaving his apartment building that morning. taken from across the street. Close enough to be clear. Far enough to show whoever took it had been watching. The message with the photo said, "We know where you live." Tyler didn't forward that one to Maya. Didn't want to scare her more than he already had. Instead, he took action. Security footage from Tyler's building shows him arriving home that evening around 6:15 p.m. He was carrying grocery bags. Looked calm on the outside. But if you watch closely, you can see him checking behind him. Looking at cars parked on the street. Scanning faces. He went inside. And for the next few hours, nothing seemed unusual. But at 11:43 p.m., the building's security camera caught something. A person entered the lobby. Hooded jacket. Face down. Hands in pockets. They walked directly to the elevator. Went up. The timestamp shows they were inside for 9 minutes. At 11:52 p.m., the same hooded figure came back down. Left the building. Walked in the opposite direction from where they'd entered. Tyler's apartment was on the 4th floor. His neighbor heard voices around midnight. Couldn't make out what was being said. But it sounded like two people talking. One voice was Tyler's. The other was unfamiliar. Then silence. At 3:47 a.m., Maya's phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "They found me." Maya was asleep. She didn't see the message until she woke up at 6:30 a.m. By then, Tyler was already gone. Building security footage shows Tyler leaving his apartment at 4:02 a.m. He was carrying a duffel bag. Moving quickly. He didn't wait for the elevator. Took the stairs. He got into his car and drove away. That was the last time anyone saw Tyler Washington in Seattle. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Airport security footage from SeaTac International Airport shows someone matching Tyler's description going through TSA screening at 5:54 a.m. The person was wearing a baseball cap pulled low. Kept their head down. Avoided looking directly at cameras. The boarding pass records show a ticket to Denver purchased with cash at 5 a.m. that morning. The name on the ticket was Tyler Washington. The passport used matched Tyler's. The flight took off at 6:30 a.m. When investigators followed up, they pulled security footage from Denver International Airport. Tracked the passenger who'd boarded that flight in Seattle. And here's the problem. The person who got off the plane in Denver wasn't Tyler Washington. Similar build. Similar clothes. But when forensic analysts compared facial features from Tyler's ID photo to the person walking through the Denver airport, they didn't match. Someone used Tyler's name and passport to board that flight. But it wasn't Tyler. So where was Tyler? And who was on that plane? October 24, 2022. Police entered Tyler's apartment with a warrant. On the surface, everything looked normal. No signs of a struggle. No blood. No broken furniture. The door wasn't forced. The locks were intact. But when investigators looked closer, small details started adding up. Tyler's bed was made neatly. But there was an indentation on one side of the pillow. Someone had slept there recently. In the kitchen sink, there was a coffee mug. Half full. Still had a little warmth to it when police arrived at 10 a.m. Like someone had made coffee just a couple hours earlier and left it behind. Tyler's laptop was on his desk. Open. But logged out. When forensic technicians examined the browser history, they found something interesting. At 2:30 a.m. on October 23, about an hour before Tyler sent that text to Maya, someone had been searching for information about witness protection programs. How to enter witness protection. What the requirements were. Whether you could voluntarily request it. Tyler's closet was missing clothes. Not a lot. But enough for about a week. A few shirts. A pair of jeans. Underwear. Socks. The bathroom was missing toiletries. Toothbrush. Razor. Deodorant. It looked like someone had packed for a trip. A short one. In the trash can, investigators found a boarding pass. Crumpled. For a 6:30 a.m. flight to Denver on October 23. Tyler's phone was on the kitchen counter. Powered down. The last activity was that text to Maya at 3:47 a.m. When technicians tried to access the phone, they discovered it had been remotely wiped. All messages deleted. Call history gone. Contacts erased. But the wipe had been rushed. Incomplete. Buried in the phone system files, they found fragments of a voice memo. Recorded at 9:52 p.m. on October 23. The audio was corrupted. Only 17 seconds were recoverable. Tyler's voice, meeting point is compromised. They're already there. I can see 2 vehicles. I need to turn around. If anyone finds this, tell Maya I tried to. Static. End of recording. So Tyler knew something was wrong. He knew the meeting he was heading to wasn't safe. But if he knew that, why did he keep going? Why not turn back immediately? Investigators searched the rest of the apartment. That's when they found the hidden lockbox in Tyler's closet. The burner phone. The text messages to someone Tyler only identified as insurance. They also found the key to the storage locker Tyler had mentioned to Maya. When Maya accessed that locker on October 28, she found a safety deposit box. Inside were things Tyler had clearly been preparing in case something happened to him. $20,000 in cash. 3 more burner phones. A notebook filled with encrypted notes. And a letter. The letter was addressed to Maya. Police never publicly released the full contents of that letter. But sources close to the investigation say Tyler wrote about having evidence that would expose corruption at Cascade Dynamics. He wrote about protecting his family. About doing what was right even if it meant risking everything. The final line of the letter said, "If I disappear, I might have had to run. Wait for my signal. If you don't hear from me in 6 months, release everything." Maya waited. 6 months came and went. No signal from Tyler. She hired a private investigator. A former FBI agent named Marcus Hale. He'd worked corporate fraud cases for 20 years. He knew how these things worked. Marcus reviewed everything. The dashcam footage. The burner phone. Tyler's notes. The connection to Daniel Ortega. And Marcus came to a conclusion that the official police investigation seemed reluctant to consider. Tyler Washington didn't have a breakdown. He didn't wander off in confusion. He was hunted. And whoever came after him had resources. Technical capability. Access to systems that most people don't have. Marcus started digging into Cascade Dynamics. Talked to former employees. Filed Freedom of Information requests for government contracts. What he found was a pattern. Cascade Dynamics had been awarded multiple contracts worth millions of dollars. But some of those contracts had unusual clauses. Unusual partners. Money flowing through offshore accounts. And Project Sentinel, the encryption software Tyler and Daniel had been working on, had been sold to clients in countries with questionable human rights records. Software that was supposed to protect data was being used to spy on people. Journalists. Activists. Political opponents. And the backdoor Tyler discovered meant whoever controlled that access could see everything. Marcus believed Tyler had uncovered evidence of corporate espionage and illegal surveillance. And that evidence was worth killing for. But proving it was another matter. Then 6 months after Tyler disappeared, Maya received a package. No return address. Postmarked from Portland, Oregon. Inside was a single photo. The photo showed Tyler. Alive. Sitting at an outdoor cafe. Different haircut. Thinner. But unmistakably Tyler. On the back of the photo, written in handwriting that analysts later confirmed was Tyler's, was a short message. "I'm safe. Don't look for me. Trust the process. I'll come home when it's over." The photo was dated 3 weeks before Maya received it. Tyler was alive. Somewhere. In hiding. But the question remained, was he hiding by choice, or was someone forcing him to stay hidden? Before I tell you what happened next, I need to say something. Stories like Tyler's only matter if people care enough to pay attention. His case is still open. His family is still fighting for answers. But without public pressure, cases like this fade away. If you want to know how this ends, if you want to see justice for Tyler and Daniel and everyone else who's been affected by this, then subscribe right now. Hit that like button. And share this video. Because every person who watches this is another person who knows Tyler's name. Another person who won't let this story disappear. Subscribe. Like. Share. Do it now. And let's find out what really happened. So what happened to Tyler Washington? There are 3 main theories. Theory number 1, Tyler ran. He discovered something so dangerous that he had no choice but to disappear to protect himself and his family. The evidence supporting this is pretty strong. The cash he'd hidden. The burner phones. The research into witness protection. The way he carefully documented everything and left instructions for Maya. Tyler was preparing for this. He knew something might happen. And when it did, he had a plan. The photo Maya received 6 months later suggests Tyler is alive and in control of his situation. He's somewhere safe. Waiting for the right moment to come forward. But there are problems with this theory. If Tyler planned to run, why send that panic text to Maya? "They found me" doesn't sound like someone executing a careful plan. It sounds like someone in immediate danger. And who was on that flight to Denver using Tyler's passport? If Tyler wanted to disappear, why create a false trail? Why not just vanish without leading investigators on a wild goose chase? Theory number 2, Tyler was taken. Someone at Cascade Dynamics or connected to Project Sentinel decided Tyler knew too much. They couldn't let him go public. So they silenced him. The evidence here is also compelling. Daniel Ortega disappeared under similar circumstances 2 months earlier. The hooded figure entering Tyler's building the night before he vanished. The anonymous threats. The woman at the cafe who took Tyler's coffee cup. All of it points to a coordinated effort to monitor Tyler and neutralize him when he became too much of a risk. But this theory has problems too. If someone wanted Tyler dead, why stage the Denver flight? Why leave his phone behind with that text? Why create all this elaborate misdirection? And what about the photo Maya received? If Tyler was taken, who sent that photo? And why would they let him write a message reassuring his family? That brings us to theory number 3. And this is the one that most investigators quietly believe is closest to the truth. Tyler is in hiding. But not entirely by choice. He may have made a deal. Either with federal authorities investigating Cascade Dynamics, or with someone else who promised to protect him if he stayed quiet until the right moment. The photo Maya received was meant to reassure her. To stop her from going public with Tyler's files too soon. But the message on the back, "Trust the process," suggests Tyler is waiting for something. Some kind of legal action. Some kind of investigation to conclude. And if you look at what happened to Cascade Dynamics in the months after Tyler disappeared, that theory starts to make sense. In June 2024, the FBI launched an investigation into Cascade Dynamics for securities fraud and illegal data trafficking. 3 executives were arrested. The company filed for bankruptcy. Project Sentinel was discontinued. But here's the strange part. Tyler Washington's name never appeared in any of the FBI documents. Neither did Daniel Ortega's. It's like they'd been erased from the entire story. The official narrative was that the FBI had been investigating Cascade Dynamics independently, that their findings had nothing to do with any whistleblowers or missing employees. But people close to the case don't believe that. They think Tyler provided information, that he's been cooperating with federal authorities, and that his disappearance was part of a protection agreement. If that's true, it would explain a lot. Why Tyler had to vanish so suddenly. Why the trail went cold in Denver. Why Maya received that photo with instructions not to look for him. Tyler might be in witness protection, living under a new name, waiting for the trials to conclude so he can safely come home. But there's also a darker possibility. What if Tyler wrote that message under duress? What if someone is holding him somewhere, using him for information, and forcing him to reassure his family so they stop asking questions? Handwriting analysts confirmed the message was written by Tyler. But psychological profilers noted that the phrasing seemed off, stilted, like someone writing under extreme stress or coercion. So which theory is correct? The truth is, we don't know. Not for certain. What we do know is that as of January 2026, Tyler Washington's case remains officially open. The FBI won't confirm or deny whether he's in protective custody. Cascade Dynamics executives are awaiting trial. And Maya Washington continues to believe her brother is alive and will come home when it's safe. But then something happened in November 2025 that changed everything. November 18, 2025. A tech journalist named Sarah Chen in Portland, Oregon received an encrypted email. The sender's IP address had been routed through 7 different countries. Impossible to trace. The message was short. Tyler Washington knew the truth. Daniel Ortega died for him. I have proof. Meet me tomorrow at 3 p.m. Powell's Books. 3rd floor. Come alone. Sarah had been following the Tyler Washington case since it first broke. She'd written articles about it, interviewed Maya, tried to piece together what really happened. She agreed to the meeting. The next day, she arrived at Powell's Books at 2:45 p.m., went to the 3rd floor, waited. Nobody showed up. But at 3:15 p.m., Sarah received a text from an unknown number. Look under the table nearest the window. Sarah walked over, crouched down. Taped to the underside of the table was a small USB drive. She took it, left the bookstore, went straight to her office. When she plugged the drive into her computer, she found 4 folders. The first folder contained source code. The original code for Project Sentinel showing the backdoor Tyler and Daniel had discovered. Proof that the encryption software had been deliberately compromised. The second folder held financial records, offshore accounts, shell companies, money transfers totaling millions of dollars. Evidence that Cascade Dynamics executives had been selling client data to foreign entities. The third folder was the most shocking. Communications between Daniel Ortega and a federal investigator. Emails dated 1 week before Daniel disappeared. Daniel had been planning to turn over evidence. He'd been working with the government. And then he vanished. The fourth folder contained a single video file. Sarah hesitated. Then clicked play. The video showed Tyler Washington. Different haircut. Thinner. Sitting in a nondescript room. Looking directly at the camera. He spoke. "My name is Tyler Washington. I'm alive. I've been in hiding because I witnessed corruption that goes beyond Cascade Dynamics. People died to keep this secret. I almost became one of them. I'm working with federal authorities to build a case that will hold everyone accountable. To my family, especially Maya, I'm sorry. I couldn't risk your safety by staying in contact. When this is over, I'll come home. Until then, trust that I'm doing what Dad taught us. Stand up for what's right, no matter the cost. The truth is coming." The video ended. Sarah immediately contacted the FBI, turned over the USB drive, published an article about what she'd found. Within days, the story exploded. National news picked it up. Public pressure mounted. Demands for answers about Tyler and Daniel. The FBI issued a statement saying they couldn't comment on ongoing investigations or confirm the identities of any protected witnesses. But they didn't deny that Tyler Washington was alive and cooperating with them. Maya Washington gave an interview saying she believed her brother was safe and doing the right thing. That she trusted him. That she was waiting for him to come home. So where is Tyler Washington now? As of January 2026, his case is still officially open. The FBI won't confirm whether he's in protective custody. Cascade Dynamics executives are awaiting trial. And Tyler's family is waiting for the day he can finally come home. Private investigators believe Tyler is living under a new identity somewhere in the United States. Possibly overseas. Waiting for the legal cases to conclude before he can safely resurface. Others think he's closer than anyone realizes. Hiding in plain sight. But one thing is certain. Tyler Washington made a choice. He could have stayed quiet. Could have ignored what he found. Could have protected himself by doing nothing. Instead, he fought back. He documented evidence. He risked everything to expose corruption. And whether he's in witness protection, living in exile, or still in danger, Tyler's story isn't over.